Well, first of all, I hope the panel can follow up with the SSA representative. The disability assessment process seems to be quite outdated, so I'd appreciate that. For the new online viewers, I'd like to quickly restate that the name chronic fatigue syndrome does not appropriately represent myalgic encephalomyelitis, more commonly known as ME. And this is not a new syndrome, but one that has been destroying lives for many decades. Ultimately, the CDC had renamed ME to the demeaning name of chronic fatigue syndrome. I believe this is the major reason this disease is not taken serious by our peers, politicians, and most of our medical community. I recommend the panel visit or revisit the topic of changing the name CFS to its original name of ME, in addition to identifying other conditions in the CFS spectrum and properly naming those as well. This disease has got to be taken serious, as it renders many of its sufferers bedbound for decades in many cases. These patients suffer with brutal physical and neurological disability. In addition, reports have indicated significant reduction in lifespan in those afflicted with ME/CFS. Most of us in this room actually know of people who've died from this illness. Today I ask the committee to read a paper submitted by Pat Farrow titled Inadequate NIH Funding for CFS. I support her paper and the recommendation this committee begin investigations to focus on how researchers went from a funding rate of 24% in 2000 for grants in which CFS is primary focus, as indicated in the GAO report, to the current 5 to 6% funding rates for grants where CFS is the primary focus. So as funding decreases, the numbers of those afflicted with this disease grows. And as the number of those afflicted grows, so does the neglect and abuse. My fellow sufferers are still being stuck with the psychiatric label in many cases. The majority of our doctors have no clue how to manage their ME/CFS patients. Patients also still have a hard time getting disability when claiming under CFS, and insurance rarely covers treatment and care. Outside this room, out in the real world, there's been very little change for CFS families and sufferers. After all these years, we continue to wait. It's time for change. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.